Good morning, ladies. This morning we're going to be making, or I'm going to be trying to make some cookies. Christmas is coming. It's a season for feasting. I'm not suggesting you eat these on a regular basis because basically you will end up like a beach ball with feet. But for a special occasion, if you are looking to give a gift for someone, these work very well. And it's also a handy recipe to have because you can make them in advance, which is always a good thing because it buys you time at a busy time of year. So I have washed my hands, I've preheated the oven. Caroline will send around the recipe with the exact proportions. Your first job when you make these cookies is to melt 125 grams of dark chocolate. There are two ways of doing this. You can do it in a bain-marie, which is a saucepan half filled with simmering water and this placed on top, or you can do it in the microwave. If you're going to melt chocolate in the microwave, you must always keep an eye on it. Open the door every 10 seconds just to check that it is not burning, because if chocolate burns in the microwave it will seize, it will smell revolting, and if you leave it long enough it will catch fire and there will be flames and there will be lots of screaming and your house will smell like burnt chocolate for about a fortnight afterwards. I know that because I've done it myself. So you've got your melted chocolate, let it cool a little bit before you actually use it, and add it to your butter and sugar, which you have creamed beforehand. So when you cream something, you just beat it together and it should look like a mousse, a bit like a coffee mousse. You don't need any special equipment to do this. You can do this with a bowl and a spoon. It's good exercise and it works on the bingo wings. But because you're watching this, I didn't think you'd want to see me beating sugar and butter together for 10 minutes. So we're using what Della calls the mixie maker this morning. So we've got our butter and our sugar, and that's ready to go. The next thing you need to do is you need to put in the melted chocolate. So that's all gone in there. Then give it a quick blast. It's about to get noisy. Okay. So then we add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now with baking, the usual rule is that everything must be at room temperature. So I left the butter out overnight so it was at room temperature ready to be beaten. The only difference with this recipe to a normal recipe is you must use a cold egg. Eggs you shouldn't usually keep in the fridge, but for this recipe it does call you to do that. There's probably a really good scientific reason for that. I don't know what that would be, but I do know the one time I didn't do that, these cookies did not work. So tip the egg in, and another quick blast. And now we add our dry ingredients. So in here we've got plain flour, we've got cocoa powder, and it must be cocoa powder, not hot chocolate, and salt, table salt, just ordinary table salt, and some bicarbonate of soda. And this is the bit where it festoons all over the kitchen. Now we have this dough, and it's a shame this isn't smell-o-vision because this smells absolutely fantastic. And for this recipe, use dark chocolate. The darker the better. Even if you're giving it to children, they've never had a problem in eating these, even if it's dark chocolate. If you really can't stand it, buy the best quality milk chocolate you can find. Don't use something like a dairy milk. That's just not going to work. There's too much fat and there's too much sugar and not enough cocoa. So what you'll be left with is a disgusting sludgy mess. So, stir. We've got our dough, and it should look extreme close-up like that. So we've used 125 grams of dark chocolate and 30 grams of cocoa. And now, because it is Christmas, you know, obviously, as I've said, it's a season of feasting, we're going to put in more chocolate. So here, we've got 350 grams of dark chocolate chips. And you just chuck them in. You don't have to use dark chocolate chips. You can use milk chocolate chips. You can use white chocolate. If you look in the baking aisle, what you can find are fudge chunks. They work very well. You can use mini marshmallows. You can use, if you can get them, peanut butter chips. Take these to the next level and they are fantastic. Just anything you want to, really. Chocolate covered coffee beans. Anything like that. Okay, so now we've mixed it in and it looks like that. You can see that? And now we're going to put them on our baking tray. The easiest way to do it is with an ice cream scoop. The book I got the recipe out of says you can get 12 cookies from this mix. Obviously Nigella Lawson's got a bigger ice cream scoop than me because I get more than that. So, scoop. You can also use your ice cream scoop if you're putting, if you're making fairy cakes, to scoop the batter into the cupcake cases, and also if you're making American muffins. It's much less messy if you do it this way. So leave quite a big gap between them because they do spread. I'm just going to do half the batch now, and I'll do the other half later. Now, what is great about this recipe, if you want to get ahead with your baking, what you can do at this stage is put the baking tray in the freezer and freeze the dough. Once the cookies are frozen, it's about an hour and a half, take them off the baking sheet, stash them in some Tupperware or a bag or some tin foil or a bit of cling film, and keep the dough in the freezer until you're ready to bake. So if you've got people coming at the end of the week and you've only got time on the weekend, you can knock these up. If you've got life group coming, you can have these in the freezer ready for when they come. If you've had a really bad day and you need some chocolate in an emergency situation, you can just bake them yourself and eat them all yourself. But don't tell me if you're going to do that. And we pop these in the oven for 18 minutes. Okay, so I'm very relieved to say that they've come out okay. So this is what they look like when they come out of the oven. I managed to get 15 cookies out of the batch of dough that you saw. If you want to make them smaller, and you may well want smaller cookies, I don't know, or you don't have an ice cream scoop, just use 2 tablespoons to make balls and pop them down. The only thing you mustn't do is squash them down flat, because as you can see they do spread as they cook. How to tell if they're ready? Get a skewer, or if you've got a cake tester, use one of those, or the tip of a really sharp knife, or if you really stuck, a piece of raw spaghetti, you can use that. Pop it in to the cookie and it will come out. There'll be a little bit of chocolate stuck to it because I hit a chocolate chip, but mostly clean. The cookies will still be soft, don't panic, that's completely normal. They will continue cooking in the residual heat they have, is what cookies do. So after about 15 minutes, it's okay to take them off the baking tray and serve them or eat them. I know they look great and they smell fantastic. Again, I wish this was smell-o-vision. Don't eat them as soon as they come out of the oven, because a mouthful of molten chocolate is not fun and it will end up in a trip to A&E. So when you've cooked them, if you don't want to serve them straight away, you can freeze them. They will keep up to 3 months if they're cooked. If you freeze the raw dough, that will be 6 months, and you can have cookies anytime you like. So I'm going to let these cool now, and then I'm going to make myself a cuppa, and I'm going to have to do some serious cookie testing. And I wish that you ladies could be here to share them with us. So have a good Christmas and keep safe, and we will see you soon. Bye bye.